welcome back to Elful Deco. Today we are making some compact mirrors. So you guys really love the compact mirrors that I made before, and I'm so happy because I love making mirrors. So I came up with some new molds to create mirrors with, and they are abstract shapes, so they're really cute. And these are two examples of the mirrors that we're making, and they're gonna be glittery mirrors with a very pretty back. I used floral foils for this, and it has a really pretty design. The mirror is super cute, so it's double-sided, and if I'm using it, you see, you will be able to see this. And if you are using it, I will see the pretty design. And right now it still has the protective film on it, but I will show you exactly how I make this, how I put the mirror in, and then we'll see how it works. Let's get started. These are my abstract compact mirror molds. There's a little slot in the mold for the mirrors, and I do provide the mirror as well. We'll see how the mirror fits into the piece after creating them. I will provide the link to these molds in the description if you want to make your own compact mirrors as well. For these mirrors, we are using Totobolt high performance resin, the slow hardener version. This is my go-to resin, and I use it for all of my molds. I will also link the resin in the description. You can save a little bit on your resin purchase from Totobolt if you use my link. I pre-mixed the resin in one large cup and will split the mixture into smaller cups for each glitter mix. We're using a different glitter mix for each mirror. These cups that we're using is empty, they're not tinted or anything. The colors that you see in the cups are just cured resin from previous uses. If we're using paper cups, we don't have to throw them out in one use. Just let the resin cure and you can reuse the cups again. For the glitter mixes, we are going to add a tint of mica powder to this, so there's like a base color. I matched the mica with the main color of the glitters. So in this case, we're using Pacific Blue for matching a blue glitter. This will give a stronger blue color to our mirror, if that makes sense. You can play around with different contrasting colors as well to create your own unique mirrors. All of my glitter mixes are from Dreaming of Glitters, but unfortunately they no longer offer glitters. I stocked up on them because I just love their mixes. You can follow this tutorial with your own glitter mixes though. The pigments used are various colors from Mayspring. I got their sample boxes on Amazon, and I don't use too much mica powder in my resin art, so they lasted me a really long time. You could see that I was just adding a little bit of amount of mica, a very small amount, because I'm not trying to have the color take over. I just want it as a base color. We're making glittery compact mirrors after all, so we're going to fill each mixture with a lot of glitter. Mix the glitter and the pigment into the resin evenly, and then we can pour. I am filming on my phone, so I apologize for any of the color saturation changes or whatever it's called that's happening in my videos. The camera makes these adjustments based on the other colors that's in the frame, and it's quite annoying when I go put these videos together and see this. But if anyone is familiar with this issue and know a fix for it, please let me know. Back to the mixing part. This part of the video is sped up a lot, so do note that when you're mixing, keep it slow and steady to reduce the amount of bubbles in your mixture. Once we're done mixing, I just want to clean up the glitter spill from the blue color. I'm taking a wet wipe and wiping down the table. I just want to make the space a little bit cleaner. One more thing before we pour, we have to clean our molds. Some of the glitter spilled into the molds when we're mixing, so just use tape to clean it up. Once the molds are clean, we can pour our mirrors. We're doing a very simple pour for this layer. We're just pouring the glitter mixture into the mold. Do not fill the molds all the way up if you're going to add a design on the back like I do. Just fill the molds up about halfway so we can add the design in the next layer and seal it with resin in the mold. When we're done pouring, we always use a heat gun to pop any bubbles at the surface. And I just want to show you a tip for getting the bubbles that are trapped on the sides of the mold. Use your plastic mixing stick or a silicone tip brush and go around the edge of the mold. That way you can bring up any of the bubbles that are trapped. Do not use anything sharp or else it can scratch your mold. I ended up having some resin left over, so I'll just pour them into my other compact mirror molds. Always have extra molds laying around in case you have extra resin. That way no resin goes to waste. And when we're done pouring this, we'll be back for the second layer in a couple of hours. These are all the compact mirrors that we're making. It's more than what we started with, but that's fine. The first layer has hardened, and I originally thought that we were going to put these foil on this layer, but it's not ideal because you can barely see it on the glittery background. So for this second layer, we'll add a translucent white background to the mirrors. That way we'll see the glittery colors peeking through and we'll be able to see the flower foil that we're using. I mixed the white with my usual white Mixo tint. No mica powder added. This will give it a milky white color. Please don't be tempted to drink this. Also, we're not pouring all the way to the top because we will still need to add one more clear layer to seal the foil. Put a little bit in the center and then use a mixing stick to spread out the resin and add more if you need. Some details about these foils that I'm using for these mirrors. I made them myself, but if you search for resin foils or foil inserts on Etsy, you'll be able to find a lot of neat ones. I will also be doing a tutorial on creating these transparent foils for resin, so be on the lookout for that video. So here I just want to show you how the foil would possibly look. It's much more visible on the translucent white layer. The seashell compact mirror is actually full. I filled it up too much with the glitter layer, so I'll just place the decal on top and see how it'll turn out. We'll still seal it with a very thin coat of clear resin in the next layer after this hardens, which is now in this video, but it's been several hours in real time. We're going to pour some clear resin into the molds and place our floral foils into the resin. We are using the same resin for all the layers we've done so far, Total Bold's high performance resin, the slow hardener version. When placing the foil, I am placing them in the center where the resin is, and I'll press it down to make sure the entire foil is embedded in the resin. I'm kind of color coordinating the designs of the glitter colors of the mirrors because it just so happens that I had foils similar to most of these color mixes. Once my foil is placed, I will go back and fill the molds if needed. Add a little bit of resin at a time so it doesn't overflow over the edge of the molds. That way the cleanup process would be much easier. Since the heart was off camera, I cut that part off so it doesn't look like you're staring at nothing on the screen. Once we're done with the pour, use a heat gun to pop any bubbles at the surface if needed. And let the layer fully cure before demolding. It's been about 12 hours later at least. I usually demold the high performance resin in 4 to 5 hours, so I did wait a little bit longer. Now we're going to demold these mirrors, starting with the heart one. And this one was made with our leftover glitter mixes together, and the colors go surprisingly well. The heart shape is also really cute. And we're gonna see all the extra resin ones first. I really love this flower shape too. The back is so pretty, and that's the side that people will see when you are using the mirror. So you can see a pretty side and other people can see a pretty side. I love making these compact mirrors double-sided. With the seashell, there's a little accident and we poured too much. Some resin spilled over the mold, but I will show you how to clean that up while we prepare for the top coat. The front will need a top coat to make it extra shiny. A shiny top coat will make the glitters even more glittery too. Let's demold the rest and then prepare them for the top coat. Now we're going to prep the back of these compact mirrors for a top coat. They're so pretty with the floral foils on the back, and we don't want to ruin it with any possible resin drips. Oh, but first, let's clean up the seashell. There's a little clear piece sticking out because we over poured our resin. Some of the edges also have little pieces sticking out. For the small pieces, I use a box cutter to carefully remove it. Some people like to use a deburring tool for this. I just never bought one to try since this works fine for me. You can research on the tool if you want to. I think the concept is about the same. Now for the big chunks, I have a wire cutter and pliers. These are just things that I have already and it works fine. I start off with the pliers and just snap off the pieces as close to the piece as possible. And then I'll use the wire cutters to carefully cut the rest of the chunk off while keeping the shape of the edges. I probably could just use a wire cutter from the start, but I'm not really sure why I do this. That's just how I do it. After cleaning up majority of the chunk, I use the box cutter again to clean it up and snip off any tiny pieces sticking out or may have been missed. Lightly sanding will work for this as well. Now our seashell is all cleaned up and let's prepare the piece for doming. We will be coating the back of our mirrors with a layer of Elmer's glue to protect our pretty floral designs from any resin drips. When we top coat our pieces, and I will use top coat and doming interchangeably, they mean the same thing. We're adding a top coat to our piece or a dome coat to our piece. But anyways, when we top coat our pieces, sometimes the resin may spill over the edges and onto the back of our pieces. In this case, we want to make sure that the back is as clean as possible because of the design that we have. With the Elmer's glue, any resin that drips over the edge of the pieces will stick to the glue. We can peel the glue off when the top coat is cured, and any resin that dripped to the back will also come off with the glue. That way we don't have to sand and polish the back of our pieces when we're done. You will see what I mean after we do our top coat. When we apply the glue, we just drop a little bit in the middle and then spread it out with a silicone brush. The glue will not stick to the silicone brush, so when it dries, you can just peel it off and reuse the brush as many times as you want. Let's finish coating the rest and let it dry, then we'll head to our resin room to do the top coat. The glue took about 16 hours to dry. You can see that it's dried when the glue turns a frosted white instead of the opaque white when we first applied it. We'll prop our pieces on top of something to give it some height for the drips to drip down. I like to use cups since I always have them around. They're cups that I use for mixing resin. We're going to make these mirrors extra shiny and add the dome effect. For this step, we'll use Totabolt tabletop resin. It's their coating resin, so it's perfect for this. It's thicker than what we use to pour in our molds, so it won't spill over the pieces easily. How I apply the top coat for these mirrors is almost like painting the mirrors onto the edge of the rim. We just want the resin on the edge. We don't want the resin to get into the center and cover up the slot we have reserved for the mirror. If some resins drop into it, that's fine, like, you know, just a drip here and there in the center, that's fine. It won't affect us placing the mirror, but if we cover the whole thing and there's no slot left, then we'll end up with having the mirror sticking out of the piece. These mirror molds were designed to have the mirror flush to the piece, meaning it's leveled with the rim that we are coating now. You'll see when we place the mirrors. Be slow and steady to make sure you're not over pouring. It may look like normal speed coating this first piece, but this was sped up a little and real time is about 1 minute and 15 seconds. We have a 20-minute work time with this resin. There's no need to rush this step. It's the last step for these mirrors. I'll speed up the rest of the top coating process and then we'll let it cure and see the final results. Here is a close-up of the dome layer. It shows better at certain angles with the lighting, so I'm trying to capture that on camera. It's super shiny and it'll make the glitter sparkle even more. You'll notice some resin in the center of these pieces, as I mentioned before, but it'll be fine. The mirrors will still fit into these pieces. Now, 24 hours later, the top coat has cured. I like to let my top coats and last layers cure for a little longer just to harden it a little more. Here I just want to show you the resin drips that I was talking about when I was applying the glue protection. Not all pieces have resin drips over the edge, but for those that did, we just made our cleanup process a lot easier because of the glue. If there are no drips, that's fine. We can just peel the glue layer as normal. To peel the glue off, I will use a sharp tool. In my case, I like to use my Cricut weeding tool, and we're going to carefully create an opening in the glue layer to remove the glue. Be careful not to scratch your pieces. So when I create the opening, I like to find a bubble in the glue, and that way the glue bubble is a little bit above the piece, and I will pick at it until I can create the opening. Now we can peel the glue off. You can see that the resin drip is already popping right off. When we peel the glue layer, the rest of the drips that are stuck to the glue will come right off with the dried glue. A thicker layer of glue will make this peeling process easier. You will notice that along the edges, the glue is slightly thinner, so it's breaking apart with each peel. That's fine too, we're still going to peel the entire glue layer off. I just wanted to mention that as a tip. This glue peeling part can make some pretty satisfying content for Instagram and TikTok as well if you're on those socials. You can check out my Instagram and TikTok at ellafuldeco to see what else I am making. finally got that glue layer off, and look at how clean the back is. We saved so much time not having to sand those strips or anything, and I will finish the rest of the glue peeling off camera and we'll place the mirrors in. First, let me quickly show you how each piece turned out on its own. Now the final step to these mirrors is, of course, placing the mirrors. I cut these mirrors to fit my mold and they have adhesive on the back for easy installation. Just peel off the brown backing to reveal the adhesive and stick it onto the piece. My mirror molds come with 3 free mirrors, but you can always purchase additional mirrors in the listing. Don't forget to use the discount code in the description if you get my molds. And here I am just placing the mirrors into each of their designated slots, and you can see how they fit perfectly into it. Let's take a closer look at the completed mirrors. I will keep the protection film on the mirrors to prevent any potential scratching, and that way we can keep the mirrors safe when we store it until it's sold. But look at how cute they are. I don't like too much glitter, so I normally don't make just glittery stuff, but I'm loving these. It felt like too much glitter without the mirror, but with the mirror, they are so cute. Adding the lovely floral design on the back makes it even better. I love these shapes as well. We originally were just doing the abstract ones, but I think I like the other ones more. The flower, the heart, and the seashell, they're probably because I know what those shapes are and they're not as abstract. I love them. Since I made them all though, I'm going to show no favoritism towards a certain design. We're going to love them all. I can also see these compact mirrors being so beautiful with real dried flowers around the rim, so maybe that's something we'll make another time. Let me know which one of these compact mirrors is your favorite. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed making these mirrors with me. As always, all the pieces that I create on this channel are available on my website. And if you enjoyed this process video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or feedback, leave it in the comments below. I'll see you next time.